Now, I am delighted to introduce Keiko Ihara. She is a remarkable woman. She has accomplished so many different things, but and she will talk about her life, her career. So I wouldn't want to steal any thunder from that lecture, but I will say, one, she is an excellent athlete. In high school, probably all of Japanese high school students go through a kind of a athletic capacity test. And somebody like me, I'm sure I've taken that, but I'm unremarkable, so I don't even remember if I took the test or not. But she graded out as a #1 female athlete in Japan on that test. So she was kind of nurtured as an Olympic athlete, and she was practicing mogul skiing. And as a way of raising funds for her training, she started modeling. She was recruited as a model. And then she one day went to the race circuit as a race queen and fell in love with racing. She will talk about it. I'm going to say too much about it. And then she entered the world of car racing and became the first female to be honored on the podium, on the stage, finishing in the top 3 in the Le Mans World Endurance Championship Series, which is just a remarkable accomplishment. She's also academically gifted. She has a degree from Hosei University in economics, and she's currently associate professor at Keio University in the Department of Media and Design Studies. And she's also a fantastic female leader in Japan, a society which is still male dominant. She engages in a lot of activities, nurturing younger female car racers to enter the field of car racing, and doing consulting about building female-friendly cars, automobiles for regular folks, women, to drive on the street. And recently in June, I think, she was officially appointed the first female executive outside independent director at Nissan Motor Corporation. First female and the youngest ever to be appointed for that important position, one of the 9 people who decides the direction of the major multinational company like Nissan. So she's a highly accomplished person, and we are privileged to learn about her life trajectory and career so far. And please join me in welcoming Keiko Ihara.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. こんにちは。こんにちは。Thank you. The first, I'd like to show the video of WEC World Endurance Championship, which I participated 2 weeks ago. So, could you open the file of a movie? Thank you very much. The video is I participated in World Endurance Championship in 2 weeks ago, and usually I drive this car over 340 km per hour. And today I'd like to speak about my story from the race queen meaning the grid car, to be a racing driver and to become the director of Nissan Motor Company. So there. Ta-da! 30 years ago or 50 years ago? No, 20 years ago, when I was a university student, I became a fashion model. And one of that job, I became a race queen. Race queen meaning the grid girl, wearing swimsuits and high heel and had a fancy colored umbrella. And I was standing on the grid of motorsports. And so before, it was beautiful, but now I got a lot of wrinkles because over 340 km per hour, a lot of window comes to face, so I got to this is it. And when I went to the circuit first time, I was really surprised because motorsports is very noisy and high speed. So I felt energy and desire or vibration, sometimes explosion. So when I saw the mechanics and the engineers, they were so tensed, and the concentration, I felt concentration and the responsibility with their work. So I thought I want to be a racing driver or mechanics or engineer. So time to get serious and the matter of life or death, because since I have been given my life and I am alive, I wished I could use my brain and my body to their potential. So next day, I went to the driving school because I didn't have a normal driving license. So I went to the driving school to get a normal driving license. And after that, I started a part-time job at the convenience store or delicatessen or supermarket. Sometimes I became a driver for Amazon. So I worked very hard for 4 years, and I saved the money, 10 million yen. 10 million yen, 1000万円ってどれくらいなんでしょう 100,000 dollars. Yeah. And after 4 years, I made a race debut finally. But before I made a race debut, it was very hard because I asked to a lot of people, how can I be a racing driver? So a lot of people said to me, you cannot be a racing driver because it's too late. Because over 20 years old, you start too late to be a racing driver, or the female driver is not safe to drive, so you shouldn't do that. Or you have no money, so you cannot be a racing driver. So that negative words made me stronger, and I got a very strong determination. So after I made a debut, I became the champion of Ferrari Challenge in Japan, and I got a ticket to go to the Italy World Final of Ferrari Challenge, and there were a lot of strong Ferrari driver from the world, and I came second in 120 cars. So I was on the podium, and I met Michael Schumacher, who was number one in the world, and I asked him, how can I be number one in the world? So he said, you can only if you tried everything, otherwise you have to adapt yourself everything. So I tried to do that, and after I met him 15 years, I became a number one female driver in the world. And motorsports looks very easy, just driving. But not easy. You need a lot of physical strength. Because when I go into the corner over 300 kilometers per hour, a lot of G-force come to me, push to me. So usually 5G. 5G means more than 300 kilogram power to push me. So feeling like two small wrestlers push me. So if I lay down, I cannot drive well. So I have to endure with my muscle of my whole body. And if I endure and use my muscle, of course, the heart rate goes up more than 170 BPM. So this is quite hard. If Olympic Games in the marathon runner get a gold medal, usually heart rate is 160 BPM. So much harder than marathon. And of course, in the each corner, I got a lot of G's. So motorsports, you need a lot of physical strength. So usually, how can I train, work out? It's last 3 months to enter the World Endurance Championship. From the August in this year, I jogged 10 kilometer or 20 kilometer, and after that 100 kilometer cycling, and after that 2 hours workout, pump up, and after that the swimming, 25-meter pool. I think I swim 50 times or 100 times. This is a training menu in the day. So you have to work out this menu for usually 3 or 4 times in the week. So motorsports is very hard, harder sports. And yes. And after I made a race debut, after 10 years, I got sick. I had a high fever every day, more than 200 days in a year, because I traveled around the world like men, same as men's athlete. And also I worked out it very hard like men. So finally I got sick. And after that I thought I have to stop, I have to quit the racing. So when I lived in England, I decided I quit the racing. So I had to go back to Japan. And the manager of me, he said to me, since you are so close to your dream, you are dreaming a better dream, but history can't move quickly enough in one generation. So you should contribute to the Japanese people, he said. So I was crying, but I went back to Japan, and I was so disappointed. What should I do? I couldn't reach my dream, and also I couldn't contribute anything. The people who supported me. So I was considering what should I do. So I started cram school in my house in very small room. And the first few months, I was very tired. I was exhausted, my power, so tired. With children are very exciting always. So it was very hard. But however, when I communicate with children, I felt infinite potential of people. So after 4 years, I have recovered and I became healthy. So if you became health, of course you get motivation. And I thought I want to come back to motorsports. So I started again. And Le Mans 24 Hours race, you can see there are many very strong drivers. 150 drivers, top 150 drivers are here. Usually 50 cars entered to Le Mans 24 Hours race, and 3 drivers share the car. to finish the race, to 24 hours race. So usually you drive 2 hours each, and you drive after you drive 2 hours, you can have a rest to 4 hours. These are 150 drivers, and the women driver is only me, because you need a lot of physical. So next, so I changed the way to participate. If I work out very hard too much, I think I will be sick again. So I changed how to work out. And I lived in the sports science center. So I developed a lot of things about human ability to its maximum. So sometimes you can control emotion by what I eat or blood flow, or you can control the emotion, you can control the sympathetic and the parasympathetic by music, or you can control emotion by smell. So I made up for my lack of physical strength by applying the sports science. Then finally I reached to the highest race in Le Mans 24 hours race. In the world, there were 3 biggest races. One is Indy, and one is Le Mans 24 hours race, and one is Monaco Grand Prix Formula One. So I reached finally the highest race, Le Mans 24 hours race. But in the first year I participated, I couldn't drive 0 lap because first driver was crashed. So I was so disappointed because it was very hard to come back. I worked very hard to get a sponsor because nobody supports athlete after your 4 years blank. So I went to a few hundred companies to get sponsors, and finally I got a sponsor to travel. And I work out every day, every night. And after workout, I had a negotiation to European team by Skype in the midnight. So I worked very hard to go to Le Mans 24 hours race, but even though I couldn't race. So next year I tried again, but I had only 3 laps because the machine was a problem. Machine got a problem, and the machine started to vibration. So over 300 kilometers per hour, machine with its vibration, it's very dangerous. So the team director decided you shouldn't drive. So I have done only 3 laps. So it was so disappointed. So my husband said to me, the godness of Le Mans might be male god. Because he is jealous because the only woman was about to win. So thanks to my husband words of consolation, I determined to try again. And the third time pays for all. And I tried to communicate with the team people because usually I join any team, a lot of staff see me about me, Asian woman driver, or can she even drive? They always thinking I can feel that atmosphere. So of course I will show them how can I drive, or how strong, or how can I get a result, or how can I develop the car. So there sometimes in Japan it's very difficult to accept the result by women, but in the Euro or in the US a lot of team or a lot of people can accept if I get a very good result. So I can show them, and of course I communicate with people who don't like me or who don't believe me. So I try to communicate with mechanics and the engineer and the teammate and drivers, and I took a time and explained teams one after the other. So my passion spread widely, and the magnitude grew like fire, spread to everyone, team member. So communicate with everybody and develop the car. So during the race, over 300 kilometers per hour in the heavy raining, it's very, very dangerous. I'm so scared always. Yeah. So over 300 kilometers per hour, and in the rain, you cannot see anything in front of the car. So, but you cannot see anything. But I have to keep flat throttle. So I'm so scared. And I cannot see anything, so I have to judge where is the braking point when I see the side of the guardrail or some trees. So I stop the car. But if I have communicate with a lot with a teammate or with engineers before the race, I think usually we have a simulation. So always we can communicate by radio. So we can judge very calmly, and we can get a very good result. So motorsports, you need a lot of communication, and communication is the most important thing. So finally, I became the first female driver to stand on the WEC podium, and I became a winner of Le Mans Series, the first female driver. So now, why do people drive cars? If you go back to the origin of the word, car comes from Latin meaning carry, and auto comes from a Greek word meaning self and autonomy. And sport, it means pastime or going somewhere far away together with someone, or desire to go fast and further than human ability will allow. So I think that to let off steam or to carry goods or to move freely, this meaning is from car. So which are all basic human instincts. The car culture began with such human wishes. And why do people fight? In 1887, the first race was held in Paris by a newspaper company, and the winner was by steam-powered car. But after 10 years, the race was held in Paris again. But the Paris trial is very long endurance race, 1,170-80 kilometer race, and the winner was already a gasoline engine car. So nowadays, the World Endurance Championship in this year, the winner is Toyota. Toyota won in Le Mans 24 Hours race, and also Toyota will be champion in the World Endurance Championship this year. So Toyota has now the hybrid system. So we live in the transition period of the automobile industry, and the act of driving is the most complicated of all the daily acts of humans. Driving requires 1,500 sub-skills. Usually when you drive at 50 kilometers per hour, you have to judge 1,400 times, quite a lot. So the driving is very complicated things. And to the win, to the survive, to be sustainable or to be safe, you have to keep the circle of a safe circle. The human being and the environment and the machine interact in a balanced way. So, however, so adapting to the environment is the key to win. So what I'm doing during the race is the racing car has a lot of sensors, and you can have a data how many G's there between the rubber and the road, or how much downforce you can get, or how much speed or how much G-force you can get. So all data sent by the car to the engineer in the pit, and they start to calculate the data. And after during the calculate, of course, I compete with rival team or rival drivers. And after I come back to the straight, the engineer gave me a call by radio, and they said to me sometimes, example, the Keiko, you have to push the button twice. You have to click the button twice because we want to change a brake balance. So the racing car can change the brake balance. The example, the 80% brake power in the front wheel, and 20% braking power in the rear wheel. But if you want to change, you can change it to 50 to 50. So if I push the button on the steering wheel, and you can change, and the machine setting is changed. After that, I brake very, very hard at the same point with previous lap. You can stop much more shortly, because we changed the settings and we adjusted the settings for this environment. So the racing is not only competing. We always develop the car. All corners, each corners, develop the car. And also this data from the car to the Dubai in the workshop. I belong the team from Dubai. So the data sent to Dubai, and in the workshop in Dubai, the engineer is waiting, and the engineer starts to calculate and develop the car. So usually we share the data in the world, and immediately we start to develop and every day. So, but however, racing is like playing. Not necessary to live, and not something everybody uses. But such a placing destroy everything existing industries to making people live better. When I parked my electrical vehicle, Nissan Leaf, 5 years before, a lot of people come to me and is this electrical vehicle? And how can you drive? Or they ask me quite a lot of things. But now electrical vehicle is quite normal. So this racing interactive technology is for case. As you know, the case means connected and autonomous and shared and electrical. Keywords for new car industry is case. And usually when you drive the car, not only a racing car, you drive a normal car, you have to do the cognition and decision and operation. So cognition, decision, operation. So if you keep this safely, you can keep safe. But if you can change to combat to the machine, cognition, decision, operation, so that's reduce accident and congestion, and of course good for environment. So we try to do that. And this racing interactive technology is for now the mobility as a service. My racing team started to support the mobility as a service. For example, for expo car or sightseeing car, these are autonomous sightseeing car or delivery car, like that. And so mobility as a service, 90% of the car are connected in 2020, very soon. and the market expanding to 5 times revenue in 2022. So this is very soon. And the service for paying for shopping and the food with monetary value of energy stored from cars. So example, if you park at your home and you charge the battery at the home by very cheap electricity in night time, and next day if you drive to go to the company, and the company can buy your battery electricity, battery energy, and at a very high, very expensive price at daytime electricity. Or if you park in front of the entrance of shopping center, and you get off the car and you push the button key, so car is going to find the space to park autonomously. And if you go to the restaurant and you eat food, or you buy dress or shopping, these shopping and food with monetary value of energy stored from cars. So you can get a lot of service by the car. So mobility as a service centered around people's reason to live will spread. So with manufacturing, a large amount of resources are used till a product is released before. But mobility as a service companies spend large amount of resources after the release of products. So now the IoT system, the car has an IoT system. So after you sell the car, even though you can get a lot of data from the customer, so you have to find the customer, how can customer use, or so we resource after the release of products. And in the age of connected car, what type of mobility company survive? I think it will be a company with diversity, because I learned from racing life that difference makes the team stronger. So the power comes from inside diversity, and now I became a director of Nissan Motor Company. So I'd like to contribute for the new mobility society with mobility as a service, because needs of the market all over the world differs with each region. So it's not only autonomous driving. Solving social challenge would create business and investment opportunity, so which turn sustainably improve corporation value and through increased competitiveness. However, there is a completely different service through mobility. We call Remain Motorsports project by FIA. FIA is a Federation of International Automobile. And I started this project in 2015. I recruited people who want to drive a car, or who want to be a racing driver or a mechanic or engineer, regardless age, nationality, and work experience. So more than 1,000 people applied, 1,000 female drivers applied from 18 years old to 68 years old in Japan. So this is very old or new, I don't know, but a big different case, connected with your friend in the old sport, and shared and enriching people by engine. So we started the project, and it was quite hard because sometimes women in Japan doesn't have a responsibility. So it's very difficult to keep motivation and sometimes it's quite difficult, but a female leader can believe that women can do. So I try to push them, and finally we break through, and the women in motorsports in Asia now, more than 300 female drivers made a race debut in 3 years, and more than 250 drivers was on the podium. So this is quite, now I'm focused on this project. And women innovation, I focused on the ability of not visualize, the taking advantage of women's diverse talents and abilities, like communication skill or emotional control, adaptability or sensitive, and quite a lot of things we developed this by IoT and science. If I'm in the US and also female drivers in the Japanese circuit, even though I can advise to them real time by the smartphone, and also I can see their body data, heart rate or blood glucose level or everything. So if I can see the data, I can analyze, and I can tell to the driver in Japan, and they can change the driving style immediately, or they can change the car immediately. So we can get much quicker to get a very good result than before. And also we have to make a movement in the industry. So movement of women into society and public-private education partnership, and so on. And so for the movement, I produced the Women Innovation Summit in Japan, and the US Embassy helped a lot. So now we should rethink the way people should be, the way society should be. I think technology surrounding cars are providing confidence to people, or excitement to people, or freedom to people. And in designing society surrounding mobility, I hope to participate as one car-loving person. And USJLP, the Tsutsui-san is a senior fellow. And I joined the US-Japan Leadership Program. I joined the US-Japan Leadership Program in 2011 when I was sick. Somebody invited me to this project, but I was sick. But I met them, the young leaders from the Japan and from the US. I was really impressed, and I felt the young leader had a very big motivation and leadership. So I thought I want to be like Tsutsui-san or everybody, the young leader. So it was very nice experience. Even I was sick, I got a motivation to come back to motorsports, and I thought I have to contribute to the society or the people who supported me. So the Michigan University and the Toyota or other manufacturers have developed a good relationship here, I think, and developed the automobile industries from here. So from now on, I hope to build a more exciting automobile society by friendship and competitiveness of the US and Japan relationships. Thank you very much for listening my story. Thank you very much.